total balanced design, high-end build quality that it can offer. Hello everyone, welcome to Tabama Hi-Fi Review channel. Today I would like to share my experience of using Garlubidor Oceanus power amplifier in my system for over 2 months now. This one is true balanced design, very similar to Dina Fripp's Hyperion power amplifier. I would say pretty much same thing, just slight differences in terms of signal to noise ratio and those area. Build quality, everything is identical, but overall build quality, this Garlubidor Oceanus has better enclosure for heat transfer and temperature control. Oceanus retail for $1,429 US currently available. It comes in either silver or black color. Oceanus can put out 80 watts at 8 ohm load and 150 watts at 4 ohm load of RMS power output, continuously driven 2-channel power output that it can offer. Balanced input only. Build quality wise, this is one of the best build quality I've ever seen under $5,000 price range. Oversized 300-volt toroidal transformer, copper shielded design, mounted on dual layer chassis, capacitor bank of 147,000 microfarad, reserve power when it's demanded, so that is overbuilt design. Ulnar caps and power amplifier sockets. Quality of the binding post, chassis design, temperature control, everything combined for $1,429 is better than anything else in this price range or even under $5,000 price range of build quality. Absolute bargain price for true balanced design. Very impressive. I started off using this Oceanus amp in my streaming setup, pairing it with SMS D200 entry-level jack, Mogami XLR cable directly connected to this Oceanus amp, pairing it with CSS audio, 2 DDX towers. Sound is dynamic, rich and vivid sound signature that it can offer with that combination. Then I switch it over to JBL L100 Classic 75th, even better and more enhancing dynamic attack and bass delivery, pairing it with that JBL L100 Classic 75th. So out of those two pairing, I like the best with 3-way JBL L100 Classic 75th Anniversary Edition. I watched a few movies and concerts with that combination. Totally enjoyed that setup for sound quality, especially with that JBL L100 Classic 75th and Oceanus amp. When I moved it here, I started pairing up with naturally Garlubidor Divinity R2R DAC, using it as a pre-DAC, streaming music with Ever Solo T8, I2S cable input to this Divinity DAC, Mogami balance cable directly connected to this Oceanus amp. Sound quality is rich and warm sounding with good detailed sound quality that it can offer, but I was wanting a little bit more airiness and high frequency extension, so I end up putting ball type isolation filters underneath Oceanus amp to give me slightly better and open airy highs, so which helps a little, although it sounded really nice and rich in that combination. Upper range of frequency extension and stereo image precision is not where I want it to be, so I replaced that Mogami balance cable with AST 0.75mm silver conductors XLR cable. Even better, more open and a bit more air in upper range of frequency, as well as those ball type filters and foundation helps a little. It sounded pretty nice, right? I can get to my reference level volume control at 30 on Divinity DAC and it's totally enjoyable. I was using Pioneer TAD design S1EX towers. When I try with this Stock Sound Beta 5 2-way design stand mount speakers, it sounded really rich and deep sound, but Sound signature is slightly thicker than I would like to be because of the two-way design doesn't really help in that situation. So I end up using primarily on this S1EX Towers three-way design for this review. So it totally shows true ability of amp and DAC combination. I enjoy listening to that combination for a few days, and I changed the pre-DAC to top-end DX9 discrete dedicated pre-output stage using very same silver cables to this Oceanus amp and using it with my Sony HAB-Z1 ES music server USB input on this top-end DX9 discrete. Sound is slightly deeper and more vivid, but it doesn't really have good synergy with Oceanus amp for my taste. But some people might like that rich yet vivid and slightly forward kind of sound that it comes out together in that combination. So I was scratching my head a little bit. And then I make sure I have good configuration and filter setting on that DX9 discrete, and everything checked out fine, right? So I went through a few tracks, and in the end, I end up preferring the Divinity R2R DAC and Oceanus amp combination. So I went back to the setup and I totally enjoyed the smooth, rich sound. But stereo image preciseness and precision notes are still not where I want it to be, right? So I was like, okay, let's try my Ocuface E4000 pre-stage. I turn off the speaker output, power amplifier stage, totally turn it off, and then I'm using it with this Oceanus amp and XLR. That is, XLR cable is using a silver-plated oxygen-free copper wires from Monos Audio. So that balance cable connected from E4000 to this Oceanus amp, and it sounded more neutral side or rich sound, still maintaining its sound signature. One thing that I like to mention it to you is this Oceanus amp has a sound signature of its own. It's not entirely transparent sounding amplifier. It's rich and warm, deep sounding amp in the original factory setting of this Oceanus amplifier. So that sound signature is still retained even when I pairing it with Ocuface E4000. What makes it better is that dynamic attack and resolution is better. Background is clearer and darker background with more precise stereo image and voices and vocals that it offers. One important thing that I like to mention is the decays or lingering notes or fading notes or those kind of tiny notes and nuances are what presented. Sound staging not as wide as where I'm used to be with Ocuface E4000 or my tube amps, but it's comparable. Depth is deeper thanks to the richer and warmer tonality of this Oceanus amplifier. So in terms of pairing component as far as the DAC and pre combination, I like it best with Ocuface E4000 pre-stage combination with this Oceanus amp for most precision in stereo image and dynamic attack. Right? Dynamic attack was really good. Chest thumping, room shaking, bass quality that it can put out. I pushed it very hard on this Oceanus amplifier using these S1EX towers. I started off with Garlubidor Divinity DAC and I raised the volume control to maximum position, which gets me around 100 dB plus peaks. This Oceanus amp is still producing good sound quality without thinning out or collapsing in sound staging or width or stereo image, other than the overwhelmingly loud and deep sound, yet stay maintaining composure, well composed soundscape and stereo image that it can produce is very impressive for under $1,500 amplifier. Thanks to the balanced design, noise control is excellent. Channel crosstalk is, I believe, 110 dB. Signal to noise ratio is 120 dB plus, so which is excellent. Noise control, one of the best. Build quality, among the best, if not the best, in under $5,000 price range. Balanced design, rich tonality, and forgiving sound signature that I can listen to it all day long. Even super revealing speakers like JBL L100 Classic 75th sounded polite and rich tonality that I can listen for hours and hours. So when I push to the limit, not actually limit, I never reached the limit with this Oceanus amp because the Divinity DAC has a maximum gain level of 60, right? I can't go any further than that, so that's where it's at. When I pushed it with this Accuphase E4000, bass delivery and lower range is more overwhelmingly attacking. I couldn't handle it from my listening position, so I end up turning it down. Other than that, amplifier itself can offer good sound quality in this room. This room is medium sized room, 26 by 16. So when I was pushing this Oceanus amp to 100 dB range, I measured the temperature on top cover. So it's around like 32 degrees Celsius or 90 degrees Fahrenheit, so which is pretty nice. When I measure it to amplifier board, it's around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, so which is totally acceptable and excellent temperature control. This room is year round, around like 68 degrees Fahrenheit in this room, so it works great. Noise control, rich tonality, and forgiving sound signature that this Oceanus amplifier can bring in my system is among the best that I've ever heard. All micro details and everything is still noticeable. It's different kind of presentation. Everything is there. It's not vivid and dynamic and to your face kind of presentation. It's polite and rich sound with nice resolution is well retained and presented in sound staging and soundscape that it can offer. So build quality is excellent. Sound quality is totally enjoyable. As far as pairing component goes, I totally recommend this type of amp and DAC combination, especially if you pairing with Oceanus and Divinity DAC combination. I highly suggest you to go with three-way designs, stand mounts or floor standards, or doesn't matter what you choose, you can totally go with it. Three-way design work the best, but if you have revealing two-way speakers, I can easily suggest you to try it as well. I tried audiophile music, hard rock, heavy metals, everything combined. This Oceanus amplifier tonal balance is no matter what type of music you play with it, it would totally retain. Even when I was streaming current pop hits and everything, I was amazed by how this Oceanus amp is influencing the overall sound signature of the recording. Pairing synergy rating of this Oceanus amp and components that I try in my system is SMS at D200 pre-DAC, and this Oceanus rating is going to be 8 out of 10. Top-end DX9 discrete and Oceanus synergy rating is going to be 7 out of 10. Garlubidor Divinity R2 pre-DAC and Oceanus amp is going to be 9 out of 10. Accuphase E4000 pre-stage and Oceanus rating is going to be 10 out of 10 for total refinement, resolution, and dynamic attack. Overwhelmingly dynamic attack that it can offer above 95 dB range of sound pressure level is scarily deep and effectively pushing onto my chest kind of delivery. But naturally, in this video, sound sample that you will hear is Divinity R2 DAC and Oceanus amp combination. My favorite part of this Oceanus True Balance amplifier is noise control, rich tonality, as well as depth and richness that together come with that combination with good resolution and micro details and tiny nuances, everything that it can redeliver, especially when I pair it with Ocuface E4000, is truly impressive. Rich yet revealing sound with vivid and dynamic bass region attack. My favorite part of this Oceanus amp sound quality is, aside from richness in tonality, is mid-range quality. Voices and vocals are incredibly enjoyable to listen in that upper mids to lower mids region. Male voices or female vocals are very musical yet natural without overwhelmingly rich sound as well in that mid-range area. So when I say richness is overall sound quality and sound signature, but when I break it down to different categories, it has good neutrality in mid-range area, but overall depth and like cohesiveness in sound staging and soundscape that it can produce makes it enjoyable. And that I don't think I ever use words such as cohesiveness in power amp or amplifier reviews in general. Those kind of words are mainly I use in speaker reviews. This Oceanus amplifier can totally give me that kind of sound signature as well. Excellent noise control, channel separation, signal to noise ratio. Only thing that I like to remind you is, due to the nature of balanced design, they don't recommend connecting high level input to this amplifier from your subwoofer aside from your passive speakers. So if you want to use with subwoofer, you have to use on your pre-stage. Another thing that I like to mention is all aforementioned comments and all my experience plus. One thing that I truly like about this Oceanus amp is the build quality. 300 volt transformer with oversized capacitor banks to give you instant power when it's demanded. Those type of quality build and reserve power is hard to come by for under $1,500 price range. No matter what type of amplification you are looking into, under $5,000 price range currently available, I would suggest you to try this Oceanus amplifier because it's total balanced design, excellent noise control, as well as good power delivery of true RMS power that you can get out of Class AB transistor design. So totally, wholeheartedly recommended, my friend. That is the experience that I like to share with you. Thank you for watching and happy listening.
Come into my solitude, though I weary be. Come into my tenderness, dream along with me. Listen to the whispers sing, listen to the singer shout. Come into my solitude, be my big mouth. Thoughts unspoken, thoughts unsaid, lies of hearth and home. Children broken on the bed and left to lie alone. Things you talk around, scum you choke on down. Come into my solitude, step on sacred ground. We were speaking of values and violence, breaking silence. Fathers who are lovers to the daughters that they own. Mothers who don't leave a child a single safety zone. People so unhinged that death is much too kind. Come into my was the only one. Thought it was the only. Thought it was the only one. We were speaking of various environments, breaking silence. Come to my solitude, welcome to the wheel. Come into this wonderland of wounds that will not heal. Walls that do not speak, steps that do not sound. Come into my solitude, burn this mirror.